Andya.
Good afternoon. Tasting Sunlight is a delicately woven story of friendship between two people and how beautifully their relationship grows and develops in a short period of time. And I'd like to congratulate you on your book. But my question to you is, who was the inspiration of your story? Does the teenage anger of Sally reflect your own? Thank you.
You're quite right. It does. It is exactly that feeling that I couldn't have put into literature before. It was the first time that I really could have this experience of my youth go through this literary filter into a book. Sally does reflect some of my 16, 17-year-old Ewald, perhaps. It is some part of it, but much clearer, much more intense than I experienced this as a young person. As a teenager, I couldn't word my feelings, not in that way, and this is something that I put down here. And the friendship between these two persons, between these two characters, is something that I feel is most important, because friendship is an important thing in my life, especially when you don't have that many friends, and it's important that this friendship is intense and clear and helpful.
Do you know why it's just now that you've been able to channel that anger that you felt as a teenager, that you've been able to transform it into something fictional?
Just perhaps because I'm old now. I don't know. I really. The funny thing is, I wouldn't have thought that you go back again and again to childhood and youth. It's like a fountain, a well that you get memories from, or topics from, themes, literary themes.
And we've got a caller now who's on the telephone. She's Anna McMay in Hertfordshire, in England. Anna, hello.
Hi.
You've got a question for Ewald.
I have, yeah. As someone who has battled anorexia multiple times as an inpatient, I did find it actually really refreshing that, as has been touched upon, Sally was anorexic, but that it wasn't the central topic of the book. So it was significant, but also just a part of her wider characterization. So do you have personal experience of living with someone with anorexia?
I can say that in my family there are, a few psychic disorders, a few family members with psychic disorders, which is why I have a lot of experience with living with them. But as I said earlier before, my experience with anorexic persons was mainly at school, and I felt very, very helpless about them. I talked to some of them, and as I said, they were most interesting persons, which is why I put Sally like this in the book, because I thought she is witty, she's humorous, she's angry and all that, and it is just this disposition that makes her weak, and she doesn't want to be weak.
President Paul Biya, and he's 91 years old. The median age in Cameroon is 19.
Acheleke Christian Leke is from Cameroon. He's executive director of the youth empowerment organisation Local Youth Corner Cameroon, and he's 34 years old.
Well, in terms of government reaching out to the youth population in terms of their policy, I would say that it's a work in progress. Young people in Cameroon are expecting a lot from their government in terms of relationship, and in terms of opportunities, and in terms of engagement.
Countries use different age ranges to define who is classed as a young person. In Cameroon's 28 million population, it's 18 to 35-year-olds.
Young people under 35 make up about 75% of the country's population, which of course means that young people have the power to decide and to make choices of who leads them or who guides them.
But not all young people can do that, because Cameroon's legal voting age is 21. Their president, Paul Biya, has been in power for almost 42 years. Most of the population have never known another leader.
We are in a patriarchal kind of system where young people are still seen as troublemakers, where young people are still seen as not wise enough. There is still this tension, and it's even much more complicated because even the young are now blaming the old for making things difficult in this country.
Some of those difficulties are economic.
A burning issue is around the aspect of employability and fighting poverty. With the recent challenges in terms of increase in taxes, cost of basic commodities, fuel, which used to be 600 francs early last year, now it's around 800 francs, and young people are the most affected because we are the ones who do not have jobs, we are the ones who are looking for access to the best education, and yet we are the ones who would get our scarce resources to purchase these products which have greatly skyrocketed in the market. So I think this is a big issue.
A 21-year-old is old enough to vote, but still too young to enter politics to represent their peers.
For you to be nominated to run for a political party, you should be the age of 23. And for you to run for president, you should be at least 35. So it would technically be impossible to have a youth, based on Cameroon's definition, as a president of Cameroon.
There's also concern that older politicians will miss opportunities to identify and act on issues that would connect with many under 35s.
Youths nowadays are leveraging on new technology and media to be able to create wealth and create employability. But they are needing government to make the environment very favorable so that these can thrive. Young people are really clamoring for peace and security in the context of Cameroon, because in times of conflict, nothing works. Even businesses fail, and even companies do not thrive, and access to education becomes an issue.
Cameroon's long-running security crises include cross-border clashes with Nigeria's militant Islamist group Boko Haram in the far north region, and conflict with separatists in northwest and southwest regions. Hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced to other parts of the country. Others are leaving.
The Canadian government launched one examination that people are supposed to take to go to Canada. You will not imagine that thousands and thousands of young people, were scrambling to sit in for this exam because they want to travel abroad. We have